Hey guys, this is going to be a guide on how to properly lane as Lady Geist and why I think laning on Geist is probably one of the most important parts of the game. To give some background on my experience as a Geist player, I'm a Eternus 1 overall, I have 1,000 games played on Geist, and I'm currently sitting at top 16 on the Geist leaderboards. To give it a little bit more context for why I think laning is so important on Lady Geist, is because just take a look at the win conversions, right? If I look at, for example, this is my account, I have 1,000 games played on Lady Geist. If I look at my win conversions in lane, and that's telling me basically what a win conversion is, to break this down for you guys. Winning lane is being above 1,000 souls above your opponent. Drawing lane is between minus 1,000 and plus 1,000, and then losing a lane is being minus 1,000. And this is all at the end of 10 minutes. That's what we call the laning phase, right? To put this into perspective, if we just look at the percentage, my win rate when I win the lane, that's almost a 65% win rate when I win that lane. Drawing that lane, we'll just say it's 50%, but it's actually just a little bit less than 50%. When I lose a lane, I have a 40% chance of winning that game. All right, drawing or losing lane on Geist is terrible. So in my opinion, winning lane with Geist is probably the one most important thing you can do to set yourself up for climbing ranks. Okay, that's why I think laning is so important. And just to show this is not just me, not that I just suck if I can't win lane. If we take a look at Deathy, for example, right? His win conversion overall, so this is for all heroes, it's about the same thing, right? Over 65% for winning lane, drawing lanes around 50, losing lanes around 30, right? If I switch this to his Geist, for example, and he's number 2 on Geist right now, because he's only played like 30 games on him, but he's number 2, so it's not a lot of data to go off of. But just looking at this, right? If he wins lane, he gets that 65%. His draw lane win rate is 33%. His lose lane is 30%. This is not just a me thing. Obviously, I have a more populated data to go on for myself, but that's why I think winning lane is the single most important thing you can do as Geist to set yourself up to win that game. With that out of the way, let's move on to actual gameplay. First thing to address is abilities, points, and early game buys. Geist has 4 abilities: Essence Bomb on 1, which will work as a time explosive, Life Drain on 2, which will work as lifesteal as long as you don't break line of sight with the target, Malice on 3, causing a ramping damage amplifier, and Soul Exchange on 4, allowing you to trade your health bar for the enemies to a maximum of 30%. In my personal opinion, I currently buy Life Drain at the start of the match and put 1 point into it for the 18 extra damage per second. Some people prefer to upgrade to its tier 2 in lane, but for me, I then focus on getting my bomb to tier 2 for the extra damage, followed by my ult to tier 1 for the decreased cooldown. After that, I then focus on getting my bomb to tier 3. For early game buys, I think that the 4 800s you should buy can be any of the following: Restoration Shot, Headshot Booster if you're comfortable with aiming, and we'll definitely talk about headshots later, or you could just go Mystic Burst for the extra bomb damage, then extra regen or healing right, which is also scenario based, and finally by grabbing extra stamina and upgrading it into kinetic dash. Your first 3200 should be radiant regeneration anyways, so buying mystic regeneration in lane is not a bad buy either. My own personal buys, I usually go restoration shot into headshot booster or extra regeneration, followed by the one that I didn't pick for my second buy. After that, I go extra stamina into kinetic dash, and to finish it off, I end up going Mystic Regeneration and end up upgrading it into Radiant Regeneration. The next aspect of laning that I want to cover is trading. Trading is when you engage with the enemy, and hopefully if you're trading correctly, you'll come out with more health and more resources than your enemy. Usually with other characters, trading is simple, since whoever does more damage and whoever comes out with more resources from that fight would be in turn winning that trade. With Geist, however, you have to consider that you're fighting yourself as well as the enemy. Every time you cast Bomb or Malice, you will do damage to yourself, and this will have an effect on the outcome of the trading scenario. Now, don't take this as that you should never cast your abilities in lane. All I'm trying to articulate is that positioning and knowing when and how to take fights is key to taking less damage. The best way for you to see improvement in your ability to take less damage in lane would be to try to stay in lane for the whole laning phase without having to back to base for health. With that in mind, let's take a look at a couple examples to get a better idea of what I'm saying. Up to this point, it's been a slow lane against an Infernus and Viper. I see him use Flame Dash, I then get my ult. This tells me that I can push a little bit because I have my ult if I get in danger and he doesn't have Flame Dash to get away. So I go up, try to do some damage. Obviously, they weren't aware of where I was spaced at. Now, I can go on the bridge here, and I get just free damage on this Infernus. Overall, I didn't have to use my ult. I got heavy damage on both of the opponents, and later on I could eventually end up killing them. A good example of what I would call a good trade for Geist. I don't have to use resources, I get resources out of the enemy team, and I end up with more health. Overall, after that fight, it allows me to then push my advantage, shove the lane up, get some tower damage, and or kill the enemy, right? This is what we talk about when we say good trading. This isn't going to be an example of a bad trade with Geist, right? So for some context on this clip, the 7 is dead. He's going to be coming back to lane here shortly. You can see him coming in on the zip line. I'm at 260 health. I'm low. There's no reason I should be standing on that bridge when I know he has zap. The only reason I live here is because my Mo was able to disable the 7's gun, right? This should be me dying right here. This was a bad trade. I got saved by my teammate, and in all honesty, I should have been dead there, right? This is not what we want to do. We have to think about the enemy resources and where we can position with their resources. The last thing I want to talk about in this video is some Geist laning specific tips, right? So some important things to know related to bomb would be, let's say for example, someone is standing on this bridge, right? If they're standing up here, your bomb actually, if I throw it at that ledge, it will work on the person on this bridge and damage them, right? So doing things like that is really useful. Some other bombs that we can do with this trick would be if they're standing behind that sign, behind this wall. Let's say you're landing the other way. You could throw the bomb up here and it will hit anybody that's on that roof. Some other bombs I like to throw in lane are throwing it into their shop when they're going to buy. Maybe they could be heal riding in that room. You can try to steal their camp if they're doing it, or if you have a moment in lane to try to steal their camp. These are just some really good things to know with bomb and lane as Geist. The way we use Geist ability in lane is super important as well, right? So just throwing your bomb in lane, level 1 bomb, no damage amplifier on it, right? It does 90 damage. We should really honestly never be throwing bomb by itself if we have malice up. And what I mean by this is when I throw my bomb, I immediately follow it with a malice for that ramping damage amplifier, right? It makes the bomb go from doing 90 damage to 97 damage. And obviously if you have more malice stacks, it's going to ramp even further. This is what we call the 1 in 3 combo, right? It's super good because it's going to amplify your bomb damage. You should always be doing this.
Nice job.
The next thing I want to touch on is Geist's life drain, right? This is one of the best ways to sustain in lane, especially if you're in a 1v1. If I'm in a 1v1 with somebody, and I have a 2 on them and they're not breaking line of sight, the amount of regen you get from that will keep you up in the fight, and it's insane. The last part of her kit that I want to touch on is her gun. Alright, this is your best utility in lane. Obviously, at the time of making this video, Gun Geist is dominant, but if you can hit headshots with Geist gun, you will be winning lanes constantly. What I mean by this is you do 21 base damage, right? It is already a super strong weapon damage. Hitting heads, doing 34. This will rack up. The reason I like buying Headshot Booster on top of this, right, is because people are not expecting, whenever you have Headshot Booster up, to do that much damage. 86 right there, right? When it recharges again, it's another 88. And the more gun items you have in lane, like let's say I have Resto Shot and Kinetic Dash at this point in lane, 94, right? It's just an insane amount of damage. It's crazy. Hitting headshots with Geist is super important. It is key. Obviously, I understand people might not be able to aim as well, but just try your hardest at headshots. People will not expect it, and people will die to it. A quick little bonus meme. A little trick I like using in lane is I know when I kill somebody, people are going to be coming back on zip, and you can stay in lane with this by just using your ult when they come off zip. Usually they'll try to be aggro, try to get that kill because you were low from the previous fight, and you can easily swap with them. It works even in Eternus. I don't know why people don't just look at the ult bar and see that you have ult, but I promise you it will work. For some ending thoughts, although Geist isn't in the best position meta-wise right now, it's still possible to not only win, but to also carry with her. And I believe that starts with a good laning phase. My current build will be in the description, along with the most used Gun Geist build. I'll be making a Geist versus character tier list after I get more experience playing against the new characters. And let me know in the comments if there's anything y'all would like to see next, whether Geist specific or just Deadlock related next. If you enjoy, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, stop by the Twitch stream maybe, and if you didn't, let me know why. Anyways, have a good rest of your day.